think I just found my favorite new Bluetooth boombox, the Soundcore Motion Boom. How's it going, everybody? It has been Aqua. I should be holding this more like on my shoulder, kind of boombox style, because it's kind of like a portable boombox. And right now it's actually $89.99 on Amazon. I will link to this in the description below. And also shout out to Soundcore for sending me the Motion Boom and sponsoring this video. So a little bit of a backstory. This is the JBL Charge 3. This has been in my life for the last 4 or maybe even 5 years. It has really good sound. I love the design. And as you can see, it's held up pretty well. You know, it's kind of stood the test of time. However, Soundcore reached out and they were like, we want you to test out the Motion Boom. And as you can see, it has this really nice handle. We have some Soundcore logo going on the top. There's a button here to pump up some bass, Bluetooth pairing. Here is some volume controls, power button, and then TWS where you can pair one of these with another one so you can do like a stereo pair. There's also some nice rubber grips on the bottom, and then on the back of the Motion Boom is this little panel. The panel is actually a little bit hard to open. You gotta really exert a little force in there. We have a USB-C charging input as well as a IQ charger. So this is a Bluetooth speaker. It can also charge your device as well. So you can plug in your iPhone or any device, period. And the Motion Boom is even water resistant to the point where you can actually dunk this in water and it'll float up to the top, which I haven't tried yet, but that's a really cool feature. So when it comes to overall design, I think the Motion Boom looks really nice overall, although it does look a little generic. There's nothing super flashy about this. It doesn't look as iconic as something like a Beats Pill kind of vibe, or even the JBL Charge, you know, has a definite aesthetic to it that I actually really enjoy. It has pretty nice branding. I like the color scheme. I like these kinds of 3D buttons on top. And yeah, it's just a little more flashy, a little more iconic looking, where the Soundcore is definitely more generic, not the most flashy thing in the world. It does have these side woofers right here, which actually vibrate a little bit when you have some bass coming through these. I do like that this grip up here has a little bit of like a rubber silicone or something type of grip on there. So when you're holding it with the handle, it does feel like it won't really like slip out of your hand. And I actually do appreciate that it has a handle. That's what gives it more of kind of like a boombox kind of vibe, where something like the JBL Charge 3, you're just kind of holding it, you know, you have it in the palm of your hand or whatever, which is not a big deal because it's not meant to be a giant speaker. It's meant to be something that you can like take with you to the beach or to the pool or sitting on the toilet or in the shower or something. So it's small. It's really easy to throw this in a bag. I've traveled with this a lot, super robust. And you can see the size difference between these two speakers, where the JBL is a lot smaller and then the Soundcore Motion Boom is a lot bigger. So if you want something super portable, the Motion Boom feels a little bit big to me. You could definitely travel with this thing and it feels pretty sturdy overall, but it is kind of big and it will take up like most of a backpack. The plastics that they use on this feel kind of like a mid-grade, low mid-grade, you know, they feel nice, but they don't feel like ultra premium, where the JBL feels a lot more robust, a lot more premium kind of feeling. But for about $100, it feels about $100 worth of a speaker. Let's get into the sound quality, because that's where the $100 makes me think, this could actually sell for more, I think, because the sound quality on this thing is really fantastic for a speaker this size. It does have a pretty good amount of boom since it is called the Motion Boom, but you do have to tweak it a little bit, because when you first turn this thing on and before you pair it to the Soundcore app, which I'll show you in a second, it sounds really weak. It sounds really flat. But once you pair it to your phone and then you tweak some of the EQ settings, and you can even create your own equalizer setting and save it, it sounds so much better, so much more full, so much deeper in the bass. So yeah, I definitely recommend, if you get the Soundcore Motion Boom, to tweak the EQ settings, because trust me, it'll add so much tone and thickness and warmth to your sound. So now let me show you the app, because it's actually pretty well done. So as you can see, it has this really nice kind of minimal interface here, and you can change the volume, play, pause, etc. And then if you go here in the equalizer setting, this is where I actually set my custom equalizer, and you can even give it a name down here. You can save different presets and stuff if you want. I like a really thick bass and nice amount of treble. It's a very like V-shaped kind of curve here. So you can see that I really am amped up a lot of the bass and the lower frequencies and stuff, and then I brought up some of the trebles and stuff, and I thought that created a nice sparkly sound. And the Motion Boom isn't really meant to be subtle, it's definitely meant to have a lot of punch. This is not meant to be a very flat type of speaker, it's meant to have a lot of oomph and to be like more theatric, to be a little more exciting. There's also these 4 presets here that it comes with, but they don't really do a whole lot, honestly. I just think it sounds so much better if you use the custom EQ. You can also go into settings over here, and this is where you can actually update the firmware if you need to. And then there's other kind of basic settings here. So yeah, the app makes the speaker just sound so much better. So now we're gonna do an extremely unscientific listening test between these 2 speakers, and you can see how much better I think the Motion Boom sounds versus the JBL Charge 3. And to test this out, we're going to be listening to In Your Eyes by me, Ben Aqua. This is available on Apple Music, Spotify, etc. This is one of my favorite songs by The Weeknd that I did a cover of it, so be sure to check that out. Highly appreciate all of your streams and support.
Just pretend that I'm in the dark and I don't regret, 'cause my heart can take a loss. I'd rather be with you. When it's sad, when it's done, yeah, I don't ever wanna know. I can tell when you're done, yeah, when I look at you in your eyes. I see there's something burning. I know it hurts to smile, but you try to. Oh, you try to. You always try to hide the pain. You always know just what to say. I always hurt the other way. I'm blind. You lie, but I don't let it define you. Oh, define you. I tried to find love in someone else too many times. And when I tell you you're the one that was on my mind, oh, when it's sad, when it's done, yeah, I would never let you know. I'm ashamed of what I've done, yeah, when I look at you in your eyes. I see there's something burning inside you. Oh, inside you. In your eyes. I know it hurts to smile, but you try to. Oh, you try to. You always try to hide the pain. You always know just what to say. I always hurt the other way. I'm right in your eyes. You lie, but I don't let it define you. Oh, define you.
The JBL Charge, as you may have noticed, doesn't have as much thickness. The bass is not there. It sounds a lot more kind of tinny and more focused on the mid-range. Like the vocals and stuff are very loud on the JBL Charge 3, where the Soundcore Motion Boom, once I EQ'd it and really pumped up the bass and the trebles like almost all the way up, it sounds so much more full, so much more kind of natural and true to the sound. Neither one of these speakers are perfect though. Like both of them are not super flat, and they have a very like colorful type of sound, but the Soundcore Motion Boom sounds so much better to me. And since the Soundcore Motion Boom is a little bit bigger than the Charge 3, I noticed more stereo separation, but the Motion Boom tends to sound a little distorted, especially in the lower frequencies, weirdly. It almost has a little too much boom, or it's trying to overcompensate with the bass. That may just be because I set that EQ with the bass like ridiculously high and the trebles ridiculously high, so there might be something about that. The Motion Boom has a lot of punch. I do wish it had a little bit more depth in the bass notes, but when you have the Motion Boom like on a table against the wall or something, the bass is a lot more thick, it sounds a lot more deep. But also when using the Motion Boom at really high volumes, the bass kind of disappears and it becomes a super muddy sound overall. But at about 50% to 75% of the volume of this speaker, it gets decently loud to fill a pretty small room and maybe a nice outdoor space. I also really like that there is EQ and other things that you can do in an app. When it comes to the overall experience, the Motion Boom just has a lot more features, much better sound than the JBL Charge 3, and I would highly recommend the Motion Boom if you're looking for a really nice sounding speaker for about $100. Now that I've listened to to the Motion Boom, it's really hard to listen to the JBL Charge 3, which I thought sounded really good before I listened to the Motion Boom, and then comparing them side by side, I was like, oh yeah, the Motion Boom is so much better. So that's kind of a quick overview of the Motion Boom versus the JBL Charge 3. Leave your questions and comments below. If you like this video, please smash the like button and subscribe below if you're not already, and add me on social media at B3NAQUA. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.